Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective around these YouTube parts. And we are here with another Friday Love Your Liver live stream. We have some fun stuff to go over today. If you saw my announcements about this, I just realized I forgot to post this on my own network, but hopefully everyone there knows that this happens every Friday. Anyway, my network, if you'd like to be a part of a kind of a social network that's all about health and people helping each other rather than everybody just trying to say that their way is the right way and they're smarter than everybody else, and you have a 900 plus people working towards the same goals and cheering each other on and all that stuff that tribes of people used to do for each other. That is the Love Your Liver Network at nutritiondetective.com. If you're not part of it, well, when you're ready to get started on fixing things, go there first. That is the do-it-yourself program that I have created. There's working with me is a whole nother thing on top of that, but the Love Your Liver program is where you should get started if you're interested in what we're talking about here today. So we have a really cool announcement. Keystone Minerals. This is my second supplement after lactoferrin. The link is in the description of the video below. Keystone Minerals. What is it? Why did I make it? Real quick. It is it's got 4 minerals in it. It's got zinc, selenium, molybdenum, and a little bit of magnesium. Why did I make this? Because many of you have heard me talk, and I say I like to do single mineral supplements. Now, for the people out there who are probably listening to this, you're really into health, and you don't mind doing like what I do with my clients, where we do customized dosing of minerals, where I want you to find your precise dose. Now, there's lots of people out there, including people on the Love Your Liver program and their friends and family, who don't want to take multiple pills. They're just not going to do it. And so a lot of my people, they really want to help their family and friends, and they know that they're not that interested in health, and so they're never going to go to the Love Your Liver program. They're never going to watch these videos. They're never going to do much work on their own. And if you don't know, fixing a lot of your health these days requires a lot of research and a lot of trial and error. So what I made the Keystone Minerals for was the basic foundational keystone, if you will, levels of minerals, specifically zinc, selenium, and molybdenum, that I've found about 80% of people do really well with as a baseline. So for about 80% of people, it's not too much, and it's a good amount to start restoring their basic mineral levels of these minerals that I found really, really important to loving your liver, if you will. So the label does say 1 a day. It says don't exceed 2 a day. And if you're out there, I would absolutely say don't go to 2 a day unless you're doing testing, whether it's with me or somebody else, so you can keep track of it. So on that note about the magnesium in it, why is there a little bit of magnesium in it? I mean, magnesium is great. It's magnesium malate. It's got my generally preferred forms of minerals in it, which is zinc picolinate, yeast-free selenomethionine, and molybdenum glycinate, just a 150 micrograms of that, and then the magnesium malate. Now, why is the magnesium malate in there? Some of you know this already with lactoferrin. I will not have additives, excipients, binders, fillers put into my supplements. There's just no freaking reason. I'm going to tell you a little secret that I've learned since I've been in the supplement industry. Now, if you have fillers and other garbage bullshit in your pills, it's because the people who made it are lazy and they didn't care to make it without that crap. You want to know how I solved it with the lactoferrin I make? Best stuff on the market. I talked to the guy who makes the stuff. I mean, it does take a little bit of thinking on my part. I like to think I'm pretty good at thinking, but I said, can we put in 250 milligrams? And the guy, I said, without fillers, without anything in it. And he said, no, there's going to be, the capsule's not going to be full. And here's the problem, folks. You want to know why you have fillers and binders and excipients and all this stuff in your pills? It's because people bitch and moan if the capsule's not completely full. They think the capsule has to be completely full. If you take a drink of water, does the glass have to be full for you to get water out of it? No. But consumers want the capsule to be packed full. So that's why you get all this bullshit in your capsules. It's because people demand them to look full. Because they think that if the capsule's not full, they're not getting their fair amount. Now, I talked to the guy who makes my supplements, great guy, Johnny at Divine Nutrition. And I said, well, could you do this for me? Can you figure out how much lactoferrin I need to put into a pill to make it so I don't have to put anything else in it? And he said, let me test that out. Let me try that out. So he comes back to me and he says 400 milligrams. 400 milligrams per pill will make it so we don't have to put anything else in. And I said, okay, 400 milligrams it is. Sometimes things are designed just that scientifically. People want to be like, well, why do you put 400 milligrams in your pills? And I go, because it means that I don't have to put other crap in it. That's about how hard it was to not put anything else in my lactoferrin. So then I'm making these Keystone minerals. And I know the dose of zinc I want. I know the dose of selenium I want. I know the dose of molybdenum I want. And I know that they're not going to fill up the pill. So I talked to Johnny and I said, I want to put in some magnesium to try to fill out the pill as best I can. He said, okay. I said, how much is that going to take? And he told me, and that's what's in it. It's just that difficult. And by that, I'm being sarcastic. It's not hard, folks. And some of you might wonder who get supplements through my recommendations and through Julie. Well, why are you using pills that do have some of those things? Because nobody makes them without it. People say, well, they'll wonder, why can't I buy this supplement without anything in it? And I say, because nobody makes it. I'm working on that, okay? I am out here working on it. I refuse to put that stuff in my my products for your benefit, for everyone's benefit. I don't want to take stuff with extra garbage in it. So remember, preservatives, fillers, binders, excipients, drying agents, some of them may have to go in there, but the fillers, that's just lazy. Call it what you will. Okay, so that's the Keystone mineral. So this is, if you and I say 80% of people. I worked with Dr. James Wilson, the guy who wrote the original adrenal fatigue book. I actually worked for his company for a short period of time, and he gave me some great advice. He already had a supplement company, and he said, Garrett, if you can make a supplement that works, that helps about 80% of the people that takes it, he said, you've done a very, very good thing. And he was talking about himself at the time, but he was also trying to give me advice. And I said, well, what about those other 20% of people, right? Because everybody wants it to be everybody. You can't make something that works for everybody. We should all know that. You can't make one t-shirt that fits everybody. You can't make one pill that fits everybody. 80%, wow, now that's doing really good then, because one size t-shirt doesn't fit 80% of people. So there's people out there who can't take that much zinc, who can't, that stirs up too much copper in them. I know this. At some point, we have to say we're going to make something, and it's not going to work for everybody. And we just have to be okay with it, or then nothing gets made, right? So anyway, If you're out there and you know the Keystone minerals are too much of something for you, or that something doesn't work for you, that's normal. I expect that. That's the custom work that I do with testing, not guessing, then addressing. That's what I do with clients. I make sure that we get them the right amounts. So next week, I'll talk about why people often, two big reasons why people react badly to supplements. When you have people who react badly to all supplements they try, there's one of two distinct reasons that are often the cause. Okay, so we'll go over that next week. Now, I wanted to go over a quick testimonial. Somebody posted this on the Love Your Liver network. My testimonials are always anonymous. So if you ever have a testimonial that you'd like for me to read about this work that we're doing, feel free to get it to me however you want, via social media, via the network, via sending it to Julie at admin@nutritiondetective.com. But yeah, I love testimonials. I never use names, just because being in medicine, it's better if you don't even use initials. So if anybody were to ever think I was making these up, I'm sorry. If you haven't figured out that I'm painfully honest yet, I can't help you. So here we go. Quote, I had my annual doctor visit yesterday after 3 months of doing the vitamin A detox, which, okay, aside, she means the Love Your Liver program. I was able to share with my doctor that constipation, digestive, and histamine issues are so much better, practically gone, and I'm not as tired or headachy. I shared I was doing low vitamin A and how it helped me, and he just said, quote, it's obviously working for you, so keep it up, end quote. He was shocked that potassium helped me with constipation. He asked me to repeat it 3 times. LOL. And the best news of all, I am no longer anemic and my thyroid function is better, so I'm decreasing that medication. Thank you, Dr. Smith, and everyone here, and especially name redacted, who pointed me in this direction in the first place when I was just getting sicker and sicker. Pretty cool, right? I mean, this is what we're doing. People think that vitamin A is a vitamin. It's not. It's a poison. It's a straight up poison. You need none of it. You can't avoid it completely. This is the problem that people get confused on. They say, so are you trying to tell me that I should? They think because I say you don't need it at all for anything ever, that I'm trying to say people should eat absolutely zero of it. That's impossible. And this has even been said in the research that if somebody were to eat a zero vitamin A diet, it would be a diet that was so deficient in multiple things that they would get sick and die. And I totally agree with them. So we don't, people on the other places on the internet, they obsess about vitamin A intakes, getting them as absolutely low as possible. And they're missing out on all the other things that I talk about in the Love Your Liver program, because it's not just vitamin A. But vitamin A is the big thing that everybody hasn't figured out yet. So that's the biggest place where they can make the improvements. So anyway, that's the testimonial. Now, the big topic of the day. Oh my goodness, folks. On the interwebs now. Male birth control. A pill is undergoing tests. Here, let me put the and that testimonial, I put it in the notes here. If you want to read it, if you need to read it, doesn't matter. Here's an article, just one of the articles. Male birth control found to be 99% effective in mice. Research. Wait, did that full link come on? Let me see if it worked. Yes, okay. It did work. Now, I want to read to you a part. Oh, did I use the wrong? I got the wrong one. I got the wrong link. Let me go find the other link. There it is. Sorry, this is the link I wanted to use because it was much more straight to the point. That other one was in The Hill. This one is from fortune.com. Let me read the title of this one. Birth control pill for men expected to start human trials this year. Let me read this quote. Now, let me go over a philosophical thing first. Fertility is health. Health is fertility. If there's one thing that by design, every creature and human on this planet is designed to do is to reproduce. That's what we do. You're born, you grow a bit, you reproduce, and eventually you die and your kids reproduce. This is what, if there's anything we were ever designed to do in our lives, it is reproduce. And why? I mean, younger people reproduce better and faster than older people mostly because younger people are less toxic and more healthy. And that's when you're designed to do it. Okay? Once you've reproduced and you're kind of done with that, that's that productive part of your life is over. The reproductive part of your life. So what I'm saying is that if things are inducing infertility or inducing sterility, making people sterile, whether it's permanently or temporarily, it's likely that that is unhealthy. Okay? Then this is the nature of inducing infertility. Now, if you haven't seen it on my channel yet, you should go watch let me find this. I'll do this. I'll put the link in there. Let me find the infertility video, my infertility video. If you haven't seen my infertility video about how vitamin A causes infertility, and this has been known in animals since the 50s, every single form of vitamin A they tested induced infertility and fertility problems, miscarriages, preterm births, birth defects. It's all there. When they took the vitamin A out of the fish oil, the mice didn't develop fertility problems. Weird. Natural vitamin A. Natural vitamin A is different and better. No, it's not. If you haven't seen here, let me show you my natural versus synthetic vitamin A video. There is no difference between natural and synthetic vitamin A in terms of toxicity. I'm putting that video there. Oh, do you know that I helping people get rid of vitamin A toxicity, I regularly help people get fertile again. Like I actually have to warn people who do this program. If you don't want to get pregnant, don't take birth control, but you have to be very, very, very cautious in your bedroom pursuits, because we're going to make you amazingly fertile. I help make people fertile without them having to spend tens of thousands of dollars poisoning themselves with modern medicine and hormones and all the nasty. If you haven't learned about fertility treatments conventionally, they're poisoning people. Yes, they may get a baby out of it, but then the mother's poisoned for good and that baby's poisoned for good until they get it out. Maybe they'll meet me later. So, male birth control. Let's read this quote from this Fortune article. The first male birth control pill, which has shown significant results in lab trials, could begin human testing before the end of the year. The contraceptive, which was created by researchers at the University of Minnesota, has been 99% effective at preventing pregnancy in mice with no apparent side effects. Bullshit. Anyway, rather than using hormones, The pill targets interactions with vitamin A, which is a key component in fertility. Let me read that again. Rather than using hormones, the pill targets interactions with vitamin A, which is a key component in fertility. I just posted those videos connecting vitamin A, increased vitamin A, not deficiency, increased vitamin A with infertility. Now, also, many of you may know, this is a fairly conventional thing, is that excess vitamin A in pregnancy will cause birth defects. Okay, so you can think of birth defects, the baby's having problems, the pregnancy's having problems. Are we seeing a pattern here? Too much vitamin A causes fertility problems. It causes birth defects. It causes problems with all of it. Male birth control pill targets interactions with vitamin A. Do you know what they're avoiding saying there? It stops vitamin A detox. It attacks the enzyme called aldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH, so that you build up retinaldehyde in your system. Building up aldehydes in your system is chronic disease. That is chronic disease. So let's keep going. They have in parentheses here, hormonal pills carry the potential of weight gain and changes in libido and could lower the levels of good cholesterol, causing potential heart issues. The research team noted that mice who were given the compound called GPHR-529 for 4 weeks showed a significant drop in semen, rendering them sterile. When the treatments were stopped, the mice returned to normal levels of virility within 4 to 6 weeks. This isn't going to be as easy, folks. So, those of you who have vitamin A toxicity, who have been working with me on it, know that this doesn't just go away overnight. Now, let's go into one other thing. Let's go into, okay, so let's connect this to, female birth control. So, if you didn't know, female birth control, let's just connect that. Female birth control has been known since 1975 to raise copper levels and vitamin A levels in the blood. Study after study after study after study. I don't care if you're on low dose. That's how it works. It induces infertility by raising vitamin A levels in the body and copper levels in the body. That's what it does. You know, they have a copper IUD, right? Women put a copper wire in their cervix and it renders them infertile. Birth control pills raise copper in the system and it renders them infertile. But bioavailable copper, garbage, made up pseudoscience. Any of you who don't test blood copper and do just hair copper are lost. You're lost. Get over it. Just because you can't use blood tests doesn't mean they're not valid. I'm sorry. Notice in the hair analysis world, they talk about hidden copper toxicity all the time. Well, what if you did a blood test and it's not hidden anymore? This is why I test copper and zinc on both hair and blood. Anyway, so let's go into the paper where, this paper called Inhibiting Vitamin A Metabolism as an Approach to Male Contraception. Inhibiting vitamin A metabolism as an approach to male contraception. Let me give you the gist of that paper. Since they actually believe that retinoic acid, like the same chemicals as Accutane and Retin-A, since they actually believe that these chemicals, these poisons, are the active and necessary forms of vitamin A for you to function. They use the whole paper to explain, oh, you need retinoic acid in your testicles to make sperm and semen properly. That's their argument. So they say, well, if we block ALDH, which is where retinaldehyde goes through ALDH to make retinoic acid, they're saying if we block this, we will deprive the testicles of active vitamin A. So they're actually saying they're going to induce a retinoic acid deficiency by doing this. And then we render men infertile. So they're saying we're going to make less retinoic acid. We're going to make less Accutane and retin A in the body. And this will render men infertile because we're going to build up retinaldehyde and other aldehydes. So like acetaldehyde from alcohol, which is the thing that makes you sick and gives you hangovers and could kill you from alcohol poisoning. And we're going to make more formaldehyde in the body. And we're going to, because we can't break it down, we're going to cause all these problems in the body. They're not going to tell you that. But they're going to say inhibiting vitamin A metabolism, which is basically inhibiting one of your body's major detox systems. Alcohol dehydrogenase, aldehyde dehydrogenase. They're inhibiting the aldehyde dehydrogenase. So that's what that paper is all about. Inhibiting vitamin A metabolism as an approach to male contraception. Okay? So we have that. Now let's go into this other thing because all the people out there who love, all the liver lovers, you Weston Price refugees, you Ray Pete refugees, you nose to tail carnivore refugees. Here's the paper. This goes into my infertility. This is in my infertility video, but I wanted to bring it up here because people say, well, natural vitamin A doesn't do that. And then they'll ignore the video where I show with research that natural vitamin A is exactly the same as synthetic vitamin A. And let's go into this paper. Meat intake in relation to semen quality and reproductive hormone levels among young men in Spain. Okay. Here's the key line. In contrast, men who consumed organ meats had significantly lower progressive sperm motility and higher luteinizing hormone levels than men who did not consume organ meats. Let's see if I can fit this quote in here if it's too long. Nope, I can fit it. Oh, it's too long. Wait, I can make it fit. An inappropriate joke there, but I decided not to. Their sperm didn't work right. What organ meat do you think is the most popular to eat? I think it's 5 letters. Oh, liver. Liver, full of what 2 nutrients? What 2 nutrients do they sell you on eating liver? You need it because it's super rich in these. Vitamin A and copper. Birth control raises vitamin A and copper in the blood. Do they say it raises synthetic vitamin A and synthetic copper in the blood, or does it just raise vitamin A and copper in the blood? Oh, it just raises all of it, natural or synthetic, the same stuff. When they measure your vitamin A in your blood, they can't distinguish natural or synthetic. When they measure vitamin A in a liver with a biopsy, they can't distinguish between natural and synthetic. When your body takes vitamin A and it breaks it down into 13-cis-retinoic acid, that's the exact same chemical as Accutane. And your body breaks down other vitamin A into all trans-retinoic acid, which is the same thing as retin A. And people are out there actually, they don't realize it, but they're claiming you need Accutane and retin A to live because those are the same chemicals. So we now have natural vitamin A from organ meats damaging the sperm production of men. Okay. Are you seeing a pattern here? Because I sure am. let's go into, well, I won't go into this. I have a whole big article. I'm going to post it here. I'm going to do a video on this someday, but I'm going to post the link here in the chat. Here's what the article is. It's on my nutritionrestored.com/blog-forum/ that's my old website. And the title of the article is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are into, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, ... They support population control and lots of carotenoids, ... Coincidence? ? We're just asking a question. Do we think this is a coincidence? And I talk about how the Gates Foundation supports birth control, which they do. They give tons of money to Planned Parenthood, which would be a great way to reduce the population. They support pokies. And I go over the research connecting pokies with infertility. And they support vitamin A in all forms. These are weird coincidences, right? So you can read that article if you want. Someday I'll do a video for Rumble or something because I don't think YouTube will be able to handle it. But let's just go into this little article here. We can kind of just look at the title of this one. So you know how I'm saying vitamin A basically destroys your reproductive organs. Okay? And what you just saw in that Spanish male study was more organ meats they ate. They had higher LH, which means their pituitary was having to send more of a signal down to their testicles to make testosterone. Kind of like, you know how they measure TSH for thyroid? TSH is the signal to your thyroid to make more thyroid hormone. And when that goes up, they start saying, you're probably getting hypothyroid. So when the LH starts going up, it's saying you're probably not making as much testosterone. So the pituitary is going to send a signal. That's what it does. This is how this works. It'd be like if you were in the shower and the shower is just dripping and you're like, oh, let me turn up the faucet. Let me turn the nozzles so more water comes out. That's what your pituitary is trying to do for your testicles. So if your LH goes up, it's a sign you're not keeping up with production. Low sperm motility implied lower testosterone production. Okay. Well, here's the title of this paper. All trans retinoic acid induces apoptosis, that's cell death, in Leydig cells via activation of the mitochondrial death pathway and antioxidant enzyme regulation. Kind of important, right? Leydig cells are the cells in the testicles that make your sperm. Wait, did I just say that all trans retinoic acid, which is one of the active forms of vitamin A, induces cell death in sperm producing cells? Weird. Is this a coincidence? I just want to make sure. Okay. Here's a quote from the paper. Retinoic acid treatment also induced a corresponding increase in apoptosis in the same cells in a dose-dependent manner. The more vitamin A that was put in there, because retinoic acid is a form of vitamin A, increased more cell death. More vitamin A, more cell death. Spanish men eat more liver, worse sperm, less testosterone. Oh, wait. Can we connect this to testosterone cells? Do you know what those cells are? Sertoli cells. Here's the title of the paper. All trans retinoic acid induces free radical generation and modulates, I clicked away from it too fast. Induces free radical generation and modulate antioxidant enzyme activities in rat Sertoli cells. Those are the cells that make your testosterone, guys. Should I put that paper in there? Come on. There it is. Okay, got it. So, didn't I just go over how eating more organ meats increased your LH production, which means your testosterone production was probably going down, possibly because your Sertoli cells were being destroyed and they're not able to make it? So let's just read this. In this work, We investigated the effects of retinoic acid. And when they say just retinoic acid, they mean all trans retinoic acid, okay? Retin A. Your body makes it. I've been over this before. You can't say that this is not happening in the body. Wait, let's just do this. I'm sorry. Let's do vegetables, retinoic acid PubMed. See if I can find this quickly. I have this in my Accutane video. I don't know why I'm not finding it right now. Gosh darn it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it on my website real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, wait, let's do this one. Retinoic acid metabolites in plasma are higher after intake of liver paste compared with vitamin A supplement in women. Retinoic acid metabolites, including 13-cis-retinoic acid and all trans retinoic acid, as in Retin A and Accutane, are higher in the blood after intake of liver paste compared with a vitamin A supplement. All you carnivores out there doing nose to tail, you are destroying your balls. I'm sorry. You are. It's in the literature. Where's the one? Oh, here it is. For you vegans and vegetarians. Modulation of plasma all trans retinoic acid concentrations by the consumption of carotenoid-rich vegetables. So for all you carnivore people out there lying and saying, well, animal vitamin A is what you need and plant vitamin A doesn't get converted into vitamin A. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Let me look at this paper real quick. Our study clearly shows that consumption of vegetables rich in beta-carotene positively influences human ATRA, all trans retinoic acid plasma levels. Eating vegetables rich in beta-carotene increases your retinoic acid levels. More retinoic acid destroys your balls, gentlemen. Here's the other quote. Whether increasing beta-carotene intake by means of high-dose supplements or by increasing consumption of vegetables with high beta-carotene content is beneficial or detrimental to human health requires more detailed studies. Hope you're not making a mistake out there. So, okay, just to sum that up. Fertility is health. Health is fertility. To make yourself infertile means you are making yourself unhealthy. These effects, women, how many of you out there know and can specifically say that your health was never, ever the same after you got off birth, during birth control or after you got off birth control? Or maybe it happened a year after you got off birth control. Birth control ruins women's lives. It does. It doesn't just go away when you stop. Ladies, you know this is the truth. Go ahead, put in the chat. If this was you, all caps, type truth. So, men, this birth control pill is going to ruin your health too. I just showed you how. That's what it does. It makes you vitamin A toxic. That's how it works. Why does Bill Gates likes vitamin A so much? Why does he love that thing so much? There is no coincidence here. So now that I've done those rants for the day, I'm going to get through a couple of questions. I'm going to try to do the questions a bit faster today, just so I can hit more of them. And I really do appreciate all you guys putting up your questions. So here we go. Free Michigan says, my bowels are slow and eating meat causes smelly gas or stool. I started molybdenum at the dose you suggested in the Love Your Liver program, but how can I get enough protein without meat and without too much fiber foods? you're going to have to look at the foods that you tolerate. The other thing that I would suggest is that you read in the Love Your Liver program the probiotics articles about how to experiment. Because do we just say, see, one of the lazy things that people out there do, folks, is they just say, take a probiotic. What? And they're like, oh, this species is good for this. 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 You don't, what you need is if you're going to use probiotics, you may be overbalanced this way. You may be overbalanced this way. You could be in the middle and be off. Being in the middle could be a bad situation, or actually after we fix it, then being in the middle is a good situation. But being way overbalanced on one side or the other can be a problem. So first of all, Doc, it hurts when I do this, then don't do that. So if there are certain meats that cause you more digestive issues, then switch. Like if somebody were to say red meat causes me a lot of smelly gas, but chicken doesn't. Okay, then you've got your answer. Go to the chicken. Now, molybdenum. Molybdenum can become toxic when people overdo it. Way too many people have seen one case study in the literature and now said, well, I'm not going to take molybdenum because you can become toxic in that. All the while they're eating fish and getting mercury poisoning and amalgam fillings, and they're doing all sorts of silly other things. Oh, let's eat vitamin A and put retinoids on our skin and do cod liver oil and eat dairy and eat lots of brightly colored rainbow vegetables and wonder why we're sick. So, first, if you tolerate meat well, figure out ones that you tolerate. If you can't, then you're going to need to go outside of it. Now, if you needed to look into something like there's only one good thing about really highly processed foods in general. And what I'm going to talk about here, folks, is the white sugar equivalent of protein, as an example, which is collagen. So if you badmouth white sugar all day and white flour, and you're like, these are foods of the devil, and you go and you use collagen in your coffee, do you realize you just put a white powder in your coffee, but yet you'll say that sugar is terrible and processed foods are terrible, and you just put a highly processed food into your coffee. So just don't be a hypocrite. Don't put MCTs in your bulletproof coffee and send your cholesterol through the roof and store tons of poisons in your liver. But that's a whole nother matter. But don't put MCT oil in your coffee and then think that you're some like high and mighty, I don't eat processed foods person. MCTs are the white sugar of fats. Processed, really refined foods can be helpful when people have very specific reactions and they need to get, let's say, a macronutrient. I deal with people who can, I've had people who come to me and they can barely eat anything other than mangoes, or barely eat anything other than potatoes, or barely eat anything other than rice. I love the cowboys on the internet who are like, you just need to eat this. And it's like, no. The confidence of amateurs is the envy of professionals. That's the saying. You eat what you tolerate, and we work on getting the poisons out. And then over time, just as you saw in that testimonial, that person's histamine issues were down. Their digestive issues were better. They took out the poisons, was the first thing they did. And then your food choices open up. Now, molybdenum, the dose that I talk about, the dose that's in the Keystone minerals, and the dose that I talk about in the Love Your Liver program is a foundational dose. I may give people more than that when I have testing and when I have them doing my follow-ups in the office hours, my office hours, just think about your doctor and how helpful they were when you had problems with what they had you do. My testing and consultation package people get 6 months. After they do a consult with me, they get 6 months of small group Zoom meeting follow-up support with me. There's 2 opportunities a week. One of them's Wednesday mornings, one of them's Thursday afternoons. So I can fit different people's times into their schedule, which is nice of me, isn't it? 6 months of support. Imagine if your doctor gave you 6 months of twice a week opportunities to get troubleshooting support on your health. Do you think you'd be able to troubleshoot things and get things better? I am out here to help people get better. And that's why I do things the way I do. That's why I do things differently than everybody else out there. Because really sick people, I get the people that all these big names you see on the internet with all the fancy marketing, I get their failures. And those of you who are with me know this. So, troubleshooting diet, somebody who was on working with me personally, we do that in the office hours. I call it office hours, like in college, when your professors had office hours and you could just come and visit. That's what it is. If people want a private consult with me to go over their stuff, they can get it. There's extra. The small group stuff is included in the package. If you want private, just like any other doctor's office, you can pay for it and you can get it. You can always get private. But we're mainly just in the office hours talking about minerals and food and symptoms. So that, I might use more molybdenum in your case. I'd figure out which foods cause it more. I'd have you look at the probiotics article and start experimenting from that article in the Love Your Liver program. And that's where I'd go with it. Okay. So moving on, are frozen foods and leftovers bad like Ayurveda says? Fresh food is best. I don't want to overcomplicate this. Fresh food is best. Always. I don't know how long traditional Ayurveda and frozen foods have been around. And, I posted on Facebook the other day about how they did here, let me find that one. Hepatotoxicity. Turmeric. Find this. Oh, wait. Well, let's just put this turmeric-induced hepatotoxicity as a report of 2 cases. And let me see if I can find the other one. Toxicity prediction of compounds. Let me pull this one up. From turmeric. Let me just read this. The aim of this study is to find the most efficacious molecule which does not have any toxic effects. Wait. Turmeric's the magical spice and it fixes everything. The aim of this study is to find the most efficacious molecule which does not have any toxic effects. Apparently, that's a problem. In the present study, toxicity of 200 chemical compounds from turmeric were predicted. Includes bacterial mutagenicity, rodent carcinogenicity, and human hepatotoxicity. That's liver toxicity. The study shows out of 200 compounds, 184 compounds were predicted as toxigenic. 136 compounds are mutagenic. 153 compounds are carcinogenic. And 64 compounds are hepatotoxic. The results of these studies indicate that in contrast to curcumin, few other compounds in turmeric which are non-mutagenic, non-carcinogenic, non-hepatotoxic, and do not have any side effects that there are few. Yes. The reason I brought this up, if Ayurveda couldn't figure out that turmeric is toxic, I'm not going to be getting a lot of my health advice from Ayurveda. Like cabbie right now. I'm not going to be getting it. That's not where I get my health advice from. I don't get my health advice too much from traditional Chinese medicine, which came about, 5,000 years ago? What do I think traditional Chinese medicine herbals do? I think they're basically mineral supplements that they figured out, when you have this and you take this, you might feel better. And they're giving you basically a mineral supplement via all these weird herbs that they use. I don't go to Ayurveda for my health advice. Is fresh food best? But then again, is a broken clock right twice a day? Yes. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So can they be right on things? Yes. Am I going to go there asking them about which foods I should eat? No. They obviously kind of got a big L on turmeric. Turmeric's full of vitamin A carotenoids, folks. It's full of vitamin A, and they find it's toxigenic and carcinogenic and mutagenic and liver toxic. And oh my gosh, I'm shocked. This is my shocked face. Okay. Brightly colored foods and animals in nature are made that way to show you they are toxic. Gosh, is turmeric brightly colored? Does it get any more brightly colored than that? So anyway, I would troubleshoot the foods. I would look at how many beans you tolerate, because they're fairly high and they're not too high. And they're hot. They have fiber in them. They do have a bit of protein. They do. You can get protein is in everything. I remember, looking at the orange juice, the frozen orange juice concentrate back long time ago when I used to eat things like this, which I don't anymore. But frozen orange juice concentrate, I look on the back and it says per 8-ounce serving. When it's reconstituted, it had 2 grams or 3 grams of protein per 8-ounce glass. And I was like, in an 8-ounce glass of orange juice, there was like 2 or 3 grams of protein. Does that all count? Absolutely, it all counts. So total up, don't just look at meat as your protein. I'm not pushing veganism. I'm not pushing vegetarianism. I'm saying all the protein counts. Some people do better on a lot more meat. Some people do better on a lot less meat. One of the challenges of the modern world, and basically I'm going to say it, the genetic mixing of all these different types, is now you have the work of having to figure out which genetics in you are actually expressing themselves. Because you may read about and want to be a big meat eater, not just you, but anybody out there. You may want to be a big meat eater, but your system, your genetics don't handle it very well. You may want to be a vegan to save the animals, and your system absolutely needs meat. Your physiology doesn't care what your philosophy is. Store that one away. Your physiology does not care what your philosophy is. Kind of like the facts don't care about feelings idea. The way you're built, you can eat however you want. It doesn't mean it's going to be good for you. Or another saying like that I say is, crackheads love crack. It doesn't mean it's good for them. So moving on, is fresh food better than frozen food? Sure. Do I think that reheating frozen food is better than eating it cold? Yes. Do I think eating cold foods is generally bad? Do you see any ice in here? No, I don't drink ice water. I don't eat many cold foods. I think cold foods are bad for the digestion, but reheating something to make it warm again, I don't think is bad. I think generally if you're cooking things, the lower the heat you can cook it on, the better off you'll be in the end. Does that mean I don't grill my meat? No, I still grill my meat. Do I know that health-wise, I've actually had lots of people, do you know if you boil meat, there's way less histamine in it? You ever eaten boiled meat? It's not great. Am I going to boil my meat to do that? No, I don't need to because I've got my ALDH running well. The problem with histamine, folks, is that your ALDH sucks. Oh, what were they trying to slow down with that male contraceptive? ALDH. Weird coincidence, right? It's all connected. One of the things I emphasize in the program is not getting lost in the weeds, seeing the forest, not just looking at individual trees. Methods of cooking, you're going to find things that are better, and then you're going to find things that you're just not going to do. I'm not sick enough to boil my meat. Are there people out there who are absolutely so unwell that they're going to absolutely feel the best when they boil or steam their meat? Abso-freaking-lutely. Am I going to do it? No. Am I going to do enemas? No. Are there people out there with certain types of enemas? They're going to benefit a lot. Yeah, absolutely. If you're not going to do something, it doesn't freaking matter. If you have to eat frozen foods and canned foods because that's what fits in your budget, or because you can't get fresh vegetables where you're at, or fresh fruit or vegetables or whatever, or beans, you're going to have to eat what you get. You make the best of whatever the situation is. Just think of what kind of society we live in today where we can worry about these little things. Like that we're actually like people will actually discuss which water is better for you. Should we write love on the container of our water? When there's so many people in the world who don't even have clean water, clean enough to not make them sick. And other people are going, you need to go to a spring water and it needs to be at this elevation and it needs to, stop. And those people are usually still sick. So maybe they missed something, kind of like Ayurveda. Anyway, moving on. If I buy apples in the spring or Mr. says, if I buy apples in the spring or summer, I know they have been sitting in cold storage since last fall when they were harvested. Wouldn't foods break down into some kind of alcohol after sitting so long? I don't know. If they still taste okay, in terms of that breakdown that you're talking about, nothing's probably happening. I mean, I would like to think that I could tell the difference in taste between an apple that was turning into apple cider and vinegar versus an apple that wasn't. If you don't want to eat apples that have been stored for months, then simply don't eat them. This is, and I mean, I say this for anything out there. If I suggest something on the Love Your Liver program or here and you go, I don't want to do that, then don't do it. I'm a guide. I am not, I tell people this about the Love Your Liver program who seem to think that I'm out there doing these dictates. I am not a sheriff and I am not a warden, and this program is not a prison. You can always do whatever you want. If you do whatever you want and it's not what I suggest and you come back later and you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling so good, I don't know what's going wrong, I'm going to say it's probably that thing you didn't want to do. Maybe you want to do it now. Do you have to? No. My God, you can keep drinking coffee all day and eating chocolate all day and eating nightshades all day. I don't care. You don't have to believe me. Time will help you believe me. That's why I just kind of sit here and I'm just like, I can wait out. I'm so healthy now and I'm just going to keep doing this. I can wait out all the people on the internet who are claiming that I'm wrong. They want to keep eating their liver and they want to keep doing their egg yolks and they want to keep doing their dairy and they want to keep doing their rainbow vegetables. And they want to keep using their retinoids on their face and they want to keep taking Accutane because the dermatologists are just disgustingly uneducated in the damage of retinoids to people's entire lives. You dermatologists who prescribe retinoids, you I hope later, if you know the damage of it, there should be hell to pay. You have ruined tons of lives. You doctors giving birth control have ruined tons of lives. You should be ashamed. And you should stop doing it, and you should start crusading against it. That's what you should do. Free Michigan asks, is pressure cooking healthy, or could it release too much glutamate and excitotoxins? This is pressure cooking, I think, is actually better because you're boiling or steaming inside that pressure cooker. You're boiling or steaming things. They're only getting up to 212 degrees. That's the temperature of water to steam. I'm not going to stop pressure cooking. I feel good on pressure cooked food. Is there less glutamate and other stuff in, let's say, boiled foods? Yeah, sure. If you need to do it, there's experts on glutamate out there. If people have glutamate problems, oh, wait, what does glutamate go through? Hold on, wait. Let me do this. Aldehyde dehydrogenase 2 deficiency increases resting state glutamate. Gosh, Dr. Smith, do you mean that glutamate is like connected to everything? I mean, not glutamate, ALDH is like connected to everything in health? Yep, basically. Yep. Between bile in your blood and the aldehydes that get created because of that process, bile in your blood and aldehydes are at the root of all of your chronic health issues. And there's an upcoming development inside the Love Your Liver network, which will only be discussed there. It will not be discussed on YouTube, where I've basically figured out how to destroy aldehydes in the system. Look how happy I am. I'm doing it every day. It's exciting. This was the final thing. It's not out yet for everybody in the Love Your Liver network, but it's coming. So, next one. Thank you for all of your work in bring truth to the health community. You're welcome. Sorry, it's Lindy. Do you think it is healthy to sleep on your left side, or is it bad for your heart, like I've heard from some sources? Well, kind of like that one question about the Ayurvedic idea of sleeping north. I would say go try to find as many 100-year-olds as you can and ask them how they sleep, what side they sleep on. Because if it was a big deal, it should show up there. Now, I'm going to tell you, what's more important than what side you sleep on? Actually sleeping. Right? Let's say, like myself, that unless I'm not feeling well, like I've had certain issues in if those of you who know my MSM debacle where I took too much methyl sulfonyl methane and I poisoned myself basically via internal production of hydrogen sulfide. I've talked about this several other places. I could only sleep on my right side. I could not sleep on my left. I had to sleep on my right. I don't normally sleep on my right. But is somebody going to tell me, am I actually going to sit here and listen to somebody who says, I don't remember the left side of the right side thing. I've heard of this. Oh, your heart sits in your chest this way, and therefore you should only sleep on your left side or else it's going to increase heart attacks. And I go, reference, please. May I see a scientific reference on this thing? It's like when people talk about your nails indicating your health. I go, reference, please. Oh, your tongue says this about your health. Reference, please. Is there anything, even one study, backing up this claim? Even one little one. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying, is this potentially just somebody on the internet spewing bullshit out of their mouth? I mean, we should always ask that, right? People don't do this enough. They go and they read on a forum like, this guy said this. And I'm like, are they backing it up with anything? Or are they just a rando on the internet spewing bullshit? that then you get to test out and find out whether they're true or not, whether they're right or not. And somebody might say, well, that's you with vitamin A toxicity, Dr. Smith. And I go, you obviously haven't seen all the research I've been posting, just like today about fertility. I sleep on my left side, which is what I thought I read was better. See, this is where I go, was it left side? Was it right side? When I sleep on my right side, my right shoulder doesn't like it. It hurts. I don't sleep, and then I wake up with shoulder pain, if I even sleep. If I sleep. When I was poisoned with MSM, I could only sleep on my right side. I normally sleep on my left side. I'm sleeping. Whatever position you sleep best in is the best position, in my opinion, until proven otherwise. People who sleep on their back, most of the time are going to snore, and that tends to lead to sleep apnea, or they're connected. So I don't like sleeping on my back. The only time I used to be able to fall asleep on my back was after I'd been drinking alcohol. So it's kind of poisons beget poisons, right? Sleeping on my back after drinking alcohol, and then I'd snore. See the combo of bad things? It's like doing one bad thing gets another bad thing, and then gets another bad thing. And then you don't sleep well. So now you've just added not sleeping to being poisoning yourself and not getting enough oxygen at night. Poisons beget poisons. Moving on, Bob asks, what do you think about using potassium chloride transdermally? And he says, in a foot bath also. I am looking into this. I just ordered a bunch of potassium chloride from iHerb for myself. The Now brand potassium chloride powder. Because someone on the network, this is the cool stuff that you get in this network. Someone on the network, I won't say her name, but she's super helpful. Well, I'll say her first name. It's Michelle. She said that she tried doing a bath with what I believe she used, what I call 50-50 salt, which is a mixture of sodium chloride, salt, potassium chloride, potassium, and a teeny bit of cream of tartar, potassium bitartrate, for flavor. And I have people use that as a salt substitute often. You can read about that in the sodium and potassium articles that are on the Love Your Liver Network. But she said she added some of it. I forget if she said a teaspoon or two of that, or a tablespoon or two of that mixture to a bath. So most people, if you know, when you're doing magnesium chloride in a bath, because I don't suggest, somebody was just asking about zinc sulfate. Do I suggest or do I use it, or could it cause a problem? I don't use sulfates. I avoid sulfates. I avoid magnesium sulfate, aka Epsom salt. I avoid zinc sulfate, aka every liquid zinc supplement on the market. Pretty much. There's one that's a zinc picolinate out there. And that's what I give my kids. So someday I'll make my own with no additives. Magnesium chloride using magnesium chloride in a bath is typically cups worth, 1 cup, 2 cup, maybe more if you really want to spend a lot of money on a bath. And I believe she said she put in a tablespoon or 2 of the 50-50 salt. So you can see there's a huge difference in the amount that's going into the bath. And she said she slept better. She had more energy the next day. She said she just felt great from it. So I immediately went, this is what I do. I went, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. And magnesium and potassium can be a bit, if you do way too much of either one of them, they can start to get a little antagonistic. But so the solution is not to sit there and go, well, gosh, I don't want to antagonize magnesium with potassium, so I'm not going to take potassium. And I don't want to antagonize potassium with magnesium, so I'm not going to take magnesium. That would not be the answer. But one thing I've seen is when people do topical magnesium and they don't feel good after it, whether it's they feel kind of revved up or they can't sleep or they've got heart palpitations or they've got other things like this, it means they have an underlying potassium deficiency. And I've been experimenting with adding more potassium to my diet lately through foods. Mainly, I've been having a couple more bananas in a week lately than I used to. And I've been thinking, well, maybe I saw Michelle's experiment and I said, why not try it? Question everything, test everything. So I just ordered some potassium chloride. I'll probably try it in the bath. I typically use anywhere between a cup and 2 cups of pharmaceutical grade magnesium chloride in the bath. And I'll probably test out, I have some 50/50 salt left that I'll probably do like Michelle did and test that in the bath first. So I'll be putting sodium and potassium in the bath. And then I'll test just the potassium chloride by itself. And then I'll know. So I'll probably test 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, see how it goes. I'm also going to try it. So I'm going to try some in my magnesium spray. I use Magahol personally, which is a mixture of a clear spirit, a clear liquor like tequila or vodka, and magnesium chloride powder. People are going to say, oh, but alcohol. I'm not concerned about 20 sprays worth of alcohol on my skin. When I can tell you from hair testing, it gets the magnesium into the body. Like I say that transdermal magnesium is 10 times as effective as pills. Magahol is twice as effective as like water-based magnesium oil spray. It's about twice as effective. I always get people back hair tests and I'll see their magnesium and I'm like, so what kind of, so I see it and their magnesium is really good. It's really high. And I'm like, and I start thinking, did they get magnesium in their hair for the hair test? Because you can get contamination of the hair test. And I'm like, what are you doing for magnesium? Because your magnesium is really high. And I'm not saying it's good or bad yet. And then they almost always, unless they're doing magnesium baths and getting magnesium in their hair, they go, oh, I'm doing Magahol. And I'm like, oh, say no more. Got it. It really works well. So moving on. Do I think it's potential? I mean, I have a study on transdermal zinc working well. But here's the thing I'm going to say about potassium chloride transdermally or topically, however you want to describe it. I don't know the doses yet. So if you want to experiment, if I say it's good, and then always the first question I get is, how much should I start with? And I say, I don't know. I might tell them, here's what I'm going to start with, which I kind of told you earlier. My initial thought, my initial intuition was maybe a tablespoon of potassium chloride with a cup of magnesium chloride. That was my initial thought. Doesn't mean that's what I've done. It doesn't mean that's what I'm going to do. It means that was my initial thought. So Ross says, I would love for you to speak about Guillain-Barre syndrome. After I used Accutane, my liver enzymes have always been great, but my total direct and conjugated bilirubin have been through the roof. So I believe they used to say Guillain-Barre syndrome was just genetic, if I recall correctly. So now you're saying after you took vitamin A, a retinoid, 13-cis-retinoic acid, which vitamin A breaks down to in everybody's body, you got Guillain-Barre syndrome and you now have high, what did it say? Total direct and conjugated bilirubin. Bilirubin. I say it that so you understand that bilirubin is a bile indicator. So what I talk about here, I mean, this is places where people may want to get really deep into mechanisms, and I'm going to say I don't have that. What I'm going to say is those are signs. What you should run is a total bile, serum total bile, or serum bile acids is what it is, and a fractionated bile acids test, which is the most extensive bile analysis you can get of your blood from LabCorp. We can order, if you are out there and you want to order this, that's in our liver health assessment on the store. I believe it used to be there. We're going to put it back up in someday. If it's not there, we took it down temporarily. We're deciding how to do that. Let me just go look. I think it's down. But any lab that people want to order, I believe that people should have. Yeah, we took it down for a little bit, but contacting Julie, I believe that people should be able to get any lab they want, anytime they want. I mean, freedom in America, right? Freedom. You should be able to order. It's your body. Like, why are doctors trying to be gatekeepers of not letting you run a test on your own body when there's so much information out there? So they can stay the medicine man, the shaman, so they can look like they know better that what they're doing than you. They don't let you access certain things, and they have their own special language. Notice how I might use medical terms here. I mean, I do use medical terms and terminology, and then I'll tell you what the medical term means because I want you to understand what it means. I'm not trying to obfuscate and hide these terms and look like I'm so much smarter than you. That's not what I do here. I want to help you understand. My old website used to be doctorasteacher.com because that's what I do. I'm here to teach you how to fish so you can be healthy yourself. I can't do everything for you. That's why I do the testing. Because not everybody's the same. And the sicker you are, the more help you need to get out of it. Because not to offend, but obviously you didn't know how you got there, and you got yourself in a pretty deep hole. And what's that saying by Einstein? A problem cannot be solved by the same mind that created it. So if you kind of got yourself really deep into a health hole, you're probably going to need somebody other than yourself to get you out of it. You dug yourself this super deep hole and you didn't figure out that you were digging yourself a super deep hole, and now you're in a super deep hole and maybe you don't know how to get out. That's what I do. Okay? You have bile in your blood. That's what the bilirubin, I mean, you can look up. I mean, jaundice. 60% of babies born in 2006, was it, had jaundice, which is bilirubin in their blood going into their skin. And this is where the bile comes out of your skin. If you have skin problems, you have bile coming out of your skin. And if you have too much bile in your blood, or bilirubin, then it'll show up as yellow. That's jaundice. So, Accutane causes cholestasis. Cholestasis is bile in your blood. You want zero bile in your blood. Depending upon where the cholestasis is happening for you, because there's intrahepatic, there's extrahepatic, depending upon where the bile blockage or slowdown, stagnation, that's what cholestasis means, bile stagnation, depends on what gets into your blood. It's as simple as that. Accutane caused you a liver injury, aka subclinical cholestasis, or actual outright cholestasis. Subclinical means they can't find it on their lab test. You obviously have bilirubin problems. So we know you have bile backing up into your blood. And that's basically Guillain-Barre syndrome is like they think it's not really a problem. You just have too much bile in your blood. You know what I'm going to look at? I'm running my labs and I'm running my mother's labs within the next week. And my mother used to have Guillain-Barre's based on blood tests. I'm going to make sure to look at her bilirubin now. And I bet that will be all gone. Because you fix cholestasis, which is what I do, and you fix bile in the blood. So anyway, moving on. Julia, this is the last question. I got to go do the inner circle, which is where I go answer more questions, more controversial questions. I get deeper into the research. for people in my inner circle, which is on the network, for about an hour and a half after this. And then after that, I'm meeting with Judy Cho, who does a podcast, and she did a podcast with both Grant Genereux once and me about vitamin A toxicity on the carnivore diet, because that's what she recommends, the carnivore diet. And she realized that the liver was becoming a problem. She's a smart lady. So I'm super excited to do the podcast. It's not going to be out for a while. She does edit it and make it all purdy. So, but that's what I'm doing today. So if you can imagine, is my brain going to be a little mushy at the end of the day? Yeah. But is my brain going to be functioning through all of that? Yes. Brain fog is not a problem once you get rid of the vitamin A toxicity and the potassium deficiency it creates. Anyway, Julia says, I consistently have 1 full bowel movement per day. However, if I drink 1 cup of black tea, I have 2 full bowel movements. Do you think that makes it worth drinking despite the downsides? That's a tough call. I do like more pooping. If somebody was working on that, I remember I went to a naturopathic, the national convention one year, and I was fresh out. I was either still in school or I was fresh out of school. And I heard these older NDs chatting, and they were talking about coffee. And, the normal thing is that coffee is not good for you. And I'm going to say coffee is not good for you. But then one guy made a good point, because this is why everything's contextual. One guy made a good point. He's like, well, I know I'd rather people weren't drinking coffee, but, this is a big but, if it can get people to have that one good poop in the morning, I think it's better than it's not. It's worth more good than the bad. And in that situation, if people weren't working on the stuff that I have them work on overall, I would say for just some normal Joe out there who's like, if I don't drink my cup of coffee in the morning, I don't poop. And they're like, I'm not going to do any diet. I'm not going to adjust my lifestyle. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not dead yet. Sleep when you're dead, drink coffee all day, whatever, do what you like. But if somebody was like that and they were like, well, I don't poop if I don't drink coffee, I'd be like, oh, well, have your coffee then. Come talk to me when you want to get well, because you're not there yet. So like tea does have a lot less caffeine than coffee. Oh, if you didn't know, caffeine slows down ALDH. Weird that long-term caffeine consumption is not good for health. Do you think that's a coincidence? Polyphenols in tea and coffee. Polyphenols would also be tannins. Polyphenols slow down ALDH. They're not good for you. All those antioxidants you were sold on are not good for you. But then you get into, is pooping twice a day better than once? Well, first of all, I would say I'm not going to look up the paper because I got to get going, but lactoferrin has research on it, specifically helping speed up ALDH, imagine that, and helping with constipation. So, not to plug my own stuff here, but this would be something I would suggest you're working on. If you heard the testimonial from earlier today, getting the right amount, enough potassium, and figuring out what sources work for you, whether they are food-based, which is always best, or supplement-based. I have 4 articles, I think, on different topics of potassium in the Love Your Liver program. I think potassium is pretty important. I think people not taking potassium levels seriously enough, they're just like, it's like leaving money on the table. Fixing your potassium can show results in how you feel in less than a half hour. Being stupid and overdoing potassium can end you up in the hospital. So being stupid about it is not good. But getting the right amount, which isn't as hard as people think, can change your day and change your life in a half hour. So I take it very seriously. So any of you out there who want to help your potassium, especially if you're in the Love Your Liver program, or if you're not in the Love Your Liver program and you want my articles on it, go read the potassium articles in the Love Your Liver section, in the course materials of the Love Your Liver section. Huge. Change your life. Potassium deficiency is a symptom of other causes like vitamin A toxicity, like copper toxicity, like maybe you do tons of magnesium and you don't get enough potassium at all. Vitamin D supplements deplete your potassium. There's tons of causes of this potassium deficiency. The potassium deficiency, unless maybe you're on an all carnivore diet and you get almost no potassium and you eat tons of sodium, you may have a potassium intake problem, but for most people, they're actually poisoning themselves into a potassium deficiency. Can we address that symptom? Absolutely. Do we also want to address the cause? Even more so. Okay? So, thanks for joining me today. You want the best stuff on the market with nothing in it? You know where to find it, nutritiondetective.com. We're going to break 1,000 members in the Love Your Liver network soon. Come and join us. We're fixing people every day. You can do the do-it-yourself, which is just joining the program, or you can work with me directly. We're going to have cool new developments coming out on all angles in the next weeks to months. So stay here. Keep it tuned in. We'll see you next week, Friday. Bye now.